Welcome to Crafts and Minis. It is so good to be able to give you an update on my hashtag Hobby Streak Challenge, where every day I do just a little bit in the hobby and upload a picture to Twitter to have some accountability for the challenge. Last week I was able to paint 69 minis. I did not paint 69 minis this week. Instead, I only painted what you see, the 5 minis, but it was still a good week. I still did a little something every day. Some days I did very little, but I still did a little bit in the hobby, which is what counts. And I was able to produce some decently painted minis, so that's part of the fun. Remember, done is beautiful, and I consider all of these minis done, except of course for the basing. I do that later, but I love to give you an update of what I get done in a week. And this week I have some fun minis to show you. First of all, I painted a little guy from Lucid Eye Publishing. Lucid Eye is a very interesting producer of miniatures that has a very unique range, and I painted this one up quick and dirty, and I used more of that kind of cell shading where like the definition in the muscles is really pronounced, but I really liked it. From an arm's length on the table, you can definitely tell what this guy is, that he's a bit of a rough and tumble guy. I think he's kind of a back to nature type of character. But he's a lot of fun, and he turned out really well, and I just love him on the tabletop. So that's from Lucid Eye Publishing. Next, I painted up 2 minis from the board game Myth. Now, I got to know the publishers of Myth, Megacon Games, when they were the publishers of Myth, and I really enjoy them. The creators there are amazing, and they did tremendous work, and they have some of my favorite miniatures, so I still like painting these up, even though you might not be able to get a hold of these very easily, because the board game is currently out of print. But I painted up 2 miniatures from that game. The first one is this Spellcaster, and it's a really cool pose. You know, hopping up on one leg, using a book to help the incantation. And again, quick and dirty, but I liked how it turned out. Just a really fun little miniature. And then the second one, very simple. This one was probably the quickest miniature I painted, and you can tell. This is just an archer, a ranger of some sort. And I never know how I feel about arrows being put on miniatures themselves. Like, you see a lot of miniatures at the ready with an arrow in their hand. And I also like miniatures that don't show the arrow, but to each their own. I think it's okay, but the problem is this one got pretty warped, so yep. But that's a ranger. The next thing I want to show you is from the company Stonehaven Miniatures. They did a Kickstarter for a bunch of dwarves way back when, and I picked up a troll in that Kickstarter, and they still, I saw on their site, sell this troll. So this is an old troll that I thought was pretty cool. It's got a tail, which is a little different for a troll. And it only has 3 fingers on each hand and 2 toes. But he's pretty fun. Now, the sculpt itself is a little more on the cartoony side, so some people might be put off a little bit by that. I don't mind it too much on the tabletop, especially when you do a little darker, grimmer painting style like I did on this guy. I think it works okay next to the rest of the minis. But yeah, that was a fun troll. It's a resin cast, which it's not a 3D printed resin cast. It's just a poured resin cast. And so I don't know about resin for the tabletop versus display. For the tabletop, you just have to be more careful with resin, because if you drop it, it is more than likely going to break. So you just have to be really careful for the tabletop. Now, if you're painting display models, you don't really have that concern. Now, dragons last, and I painted this one up as a zombie dragon, because I believe that's what it is. And I can't remember which expansion or product from Cool Mini or Not Zombicide this came from, but here, let me show you that. It is a fun zombie dragon. You can tell it's a zombie because it has a broken horn and holes in the wings. Oops, sorry, this is a little awkward to show off on camera. But I did an oil wash on this guy, which I thought worked out pretty well, because I really like how the wings turned out. I thought they looked really good. And the rest of him painted up relatively quickly, which is always nice. But it's always fun just to have more dragons to have around. They look great on the shelf between games, when you're not playing with them. They're attention grabbing kind of miniature. And then when you are playing with them, like no party likes to see a dragon come out that wants to fight. So it's really fun. But yeah, that mini painted up relatively quickly for its size, and I was really pleased on how it turned out. Now, this week on Twitter, I've been posting updates with a lot of pictures of goblins and mini dragons, and I was working on them. I just couldn't get them done in the week. So hopefully next week I'll have a whole bunch of gobos and little dragons to show you. But that's my hashtag Hobby Streak Challenge update. I hope you're getting after your hobby. Thank you so much for all the kind comments about being back. And I'm glad I'm providing a little bit of inspiration for each and every one of you. Hopefully, I just want these videos to inspire your own hobby. Hopefully you can tell I'm not like a professional painter by any stretch of the imagination, but I do enjoy it. And my enjoyment grows each and every time I sit down at the painting table and get after it. It's something about that. The more you put into the hobby, the capacity for the hobby grows. It's awesome. So get after it. Have fun. Just remember, done is beautiful. And this week, maybe you'll have a zombie dragon to paint. And even if you don't, go get after that hobby.